morning. How are you?
Uh, I'm awake.
So, can you please turn on your video?
Pardon? What did you say?
Can you please turn on your video? So, there will be an icon button below.
Yeah. Okay.
So, please press that.
Okay. I can begin.
No, still it won't visible. Hey, Peter.
Good morning.
Yeah, very good morning. So, if you turn on your video so that we can start the session, so there will be an icon below a video button. So, you please press that.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Yeah, it's not yet 8.
No, so your
But
video
that's
is
up to you.
still not visible.
Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The title of my
Yeah,
speech
Peter.
is.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let me introduce you to our audience first so that you can start this session, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our second speaker. So he is Peter Van. So, so
Van
Peter Van,
Wormerskerken.
yeah, so Peter Van was born in the Netherlands after World War II. So he was diagnosed with epilepsy, a condition that delayed his formal education. He is a qualified farmer and studied economics to the level required to teach a gymnasium. So, throughout private tutorials with the president of Dutch and German central banks. So, he became a specialist in monetary policy and public finance. So, that was a wonderful bio, Peter Van. So, let's continue with the session and all the best.
Yes. We are going to discuss women in the highest positions in America. There aren't many of them. Far too few, both in politics and large companies. I would say, even as a man. I recently had a bit of a disagreement with my future wife. Argument is too strong a word, and whose common sense prevailed first. That's right, you guessed it, my wife. That's why I only can say, thank you, darling, for saving our future. My wife is very pleased I said this, because yes, being head over heels in love, as I am, I naturally want to move forward with her. And we have moved forward. We have promised each other fidelity and want to join our lives together later this year. Do you know what the annoying thing is about men at the top? Always again. They want so badly to be right. Just ask the current boss of this country. But you could also go to that stubborn little rascal in the Kremlin. He's a good guy. Mind you, he's a good ex spy, just like me. Very intelligent. He cleaned up the mess that country in that country beautifully after Boris Yeltsin. Spick and span, order had been restored. And what did the guy, after he had nothing to do with that anymore? Since 2008, that man has been waging war almost incessantly. In the neighboring countries, they are afraid of that little man with his very big ambitions. And those ambitions, dear ladies, this monster sees no problem in destroying entire cities and villages, driving the elderly, women, and children to their deaths, and bombing schools and hospitals. This subject, I have no better word for him, is a murderer. He sends his own young men to their deaths at the front lines in Ukraine. The fool, all people who have built all that country. There is quite somewhat to build in Russia. It is not for nothing that Kim Rocket no longer sends soldiers to his so-called friend. Ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking here about world leader number one, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. The small man is exceptional intelligence, and very sadly, he sold his soul to Satan. After ordering uh, restoring in Russia, he has done nothing of any value to humanity. Putin and destruction belong together. Humanity would be better off without him. Like being rid of a bad Tuzak. Worse still, he is so unscrupulous that he may use nuclear weapons if he cannot get his way by other means. Let there be no doubt. Putin is a danger to humanity. He puts his own interests above those of everyone on Earth. If he were to launch a nuclear bomb at Ukraine, the previous president of the United States threatened to respond in kind. I do not need to spell out the consequence, the destruction of the world because a Russian scoundrel cannot get his way. And that man Medvedev, his successor, is not any better. Dear listeners, I spoke to you about bomb throwers. You understand that I'm referring to Trump and Netanyahu. Just like Putin, neither of these murderers knows very well why they are waging war. Oh, yes, actually, they know it damned well. Trump will continue waging war as long as those Epstein files threaten to reveal his very rotten deeds at a younger age. That is why he's waging war against Iran. He doesn't care about the Strait of Hormuz and free shipping. And because of his war, the shipping traffic there is now at a standstill. That is Trump's fault and no one else's. He wanted to wage war there, and he is driving the whole world into unnecessary high energy costs. Trump is putting global prosperity at stake because he pulled very rotten stunts on that little island of Epstein's. Said, you elected such a scoundrel, naive Americans, such a scoundrel that he is now holding the world population hostage with his war. Just uh, get that guy out of the way. Don't you Americans realize that North America, the United States of North America, uh, in every respect in the world, that he is making a mockery of your country? Who takes America seriously anymore with such a fidgety person at the helm. One day he says one thing, the next day he corrects it with something else. America, ladies and gentlemen, needs strong women at the top. Why a women? Don't you think that it's time to stop that macho behavior of Putin and Trump? We have a woman, the Democrats shout, forgetting that this woman, Harris, received a figurative beating from populist Trump in the last election. Harris is a loser. The ideals of the Democrats are in a sorry state if they cannot find someone of more stature, someone with the power, the figure of Hillary Clinton. She's now too old with her 78. It is a pity that you now see in America too that the truly good people do not want to go into politics. The politicians themselves, mediocre caliber, also do not want colleagues who stand out. That is why government officials' salaries are too low to attract people with quality. They take the Secretary of the Treasury. Who do you get for a pittance of 253,000 a year? Ladies and gentlemen, for someone with qualities uh, that perform that job well, you need to have people of 5, 10, 20 million. You must be able to buy people in such a heavy post. Uh, the quality of someone determines what you pay. The problem with Putin and Trump is the same with Netanyahu. He's highly corrupt. There are multiple lawsuits pending against him. As soon as he steps down from the Israeli government, it's chaos over there. Lawsuit after lawsuit follows him. As you can hear and see, I'm a man. But do not be surprised that this speech has a women-friendly view. Yes, and it's not because I'm an 86-year-old Dutchman. Uh, it's because neither because I'm in love. But my future wife influenced on this speech. She is from China. In the following, we discuss the man, I call him Mr. Construction, the Chinese leader Xi Jinping. That influence shows how a good couple functions. Openness. We deliver teamwork, and I hope you will reward it as a quality. China, ladies and gentlemen, is the new number one world power. I've never been there, and my information is basically mainly based on Google and my girlfriend. Uh, no scientific studies, but the scientific studies are on Google. China, as you know, is a central controlled administrative system, but it could well be, and I am actually certain, that the 3,000 members of the Chinese parliament, the National Folks People's Congress, listen better to their constituents than the elected politicians in Western countries. They get to sit on the press seats for 4 years and say, great, now I can do whatever I want with my mandate. In contrast, the member of the People's Congress is instructed to maintain close contact with the people in his area. Major government proposals are discussed there. Then the representative of that district receives a voting mandate. A voting mandate. That is what I call practical democracy. That National People's Congress meets only once a year for days on end. They are busy providing the government with instructions. The execution of the instructions that leads with Mr. Xi and his colleagues, and it is no longer discussed only once they do their job well. You see, in China, policy is made in another way than here, and they think ahead. That's that kind of system makes long-term policies possible. Most spectacular is the work on the Gobi Desert. In 1978, that is 48 years ago, the People's Congress decided that the expansion of the desert had to be stopped. Program has been written down and it runs until 2057. 80 years. There is no single Western country that pursues policies for such long terms. Long term policy does not exist in the world, in the West. The politicians are only interested in being re elected in the next election. And these politicians care less uh, about their country and their voters uh, the ones that do so, that is they are a needle in a haystack. Also in America, but you cannot govern a country well with the democracy as it practices the world in the West. Just look at how you are ruining your once so promising and strong country with all its slacker and egocentric politicians. Where is America's authority? Trump is squandering the scraps Biden has left. No wonder, with all those amateurs in his administration. Where is the scientific lead? Where is the technological one? You were used to make good cars. You used to make the best steel. Your steel industry is old and rotten, just like the car industry. The bosses filled and continue to fill their bellies and bank accounts through import restrictions. Import restrictions are needed to keep up the steel industry. It's a shame for you. Those bosses need a kick in the ass. They let their companies miss the boat on modernization and know what it is. They are all money and power hungry men who are helping America fall behind. You need women at the top. With their specific drive, women might be able to straighten out the stitches the men have already dropped. Nice example. Mary Barra is the exception in the car industry at General Motors. Thanks to her, the path of electric cars and the application of AI is being taken there. But what an opposition she had to face. Also look at the cars that are now designed there with the hand of females at the design. I get told off because I champion the Chinese system of government. In China, they can implement a climate policy. But with the polarization here in America, how do you expect to implement policy? A longer term policy or a policy that means something. It's time that Republicans and the Democrats respect each other. They are both good men and women. If Congress decides then on its long term policy in whatever area it should be, no president, no one should touch that anymore. That long term policy has to be followed, even by a disrespectful figure like Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, cleaning up the mess is one, but there is an even harder problem in the United States, the American state debt. Every year, 2 trillion, that is 2,000 billion, is added and consists now of $30,000 billion. The average interest rate on all those loans is 3.4%. That means that every year 1.3 and 33 trillion dollars is needed per year just to pay the interest. It's money you can't do anything with. That is a shame you have to pay that. The national debt exceeds the national income. The national income is only, it's the number one GDP in the world, but that is $32.5 trillion. In Europe, we have a standard by the European Union that the national debt should only be 60% of GDP. The American debt is just like that of Italy, the weakling in Europe, 120%. And the worst part is that your national debt rises faster than the national income. That means that the percentage is on the increasing path. And then comes Trump with friend Elon Musk. You will remember to work on a cutback on the government apparatus. You also remember the gigantic failure that turned out, simply firing civil servants and stopping aid to poor countries won't solve the problem. To save America from the financial quagmire, you need a tough banker. I know no man for that post. One woman, one woman is likely capable to do this, to keep the national debt in hands. And it does not matter whether you pay that women 20 or 50 or probably $100 million a year. You must get the quality to get and for that rotten job. And you must be able to veto out of budget spending by both the president and the Congress. It is of a national interest to get these women, and it is of a national interest that you all put your shoulders to the wheel, work extra, pay more taxes. Naturally, you would like to know who that woman is, who I think is supposed to pull America out of the financial slump. That is Jane Fraser. She is the CEO of Citigroup, one of the largest banks in America. Here she has proven herself as a tough banker, maybe the toughest one in America. She require, achieved results. She asks receiving results. And that mentality is needed at the Treasury and within the government. Therefore, it is of national import to persuade Jane Fraser to accept this job, but not as a Democratic or Republican minister, uh, just for her qualities. You must fully realize that America is no longer the great and powerful country of yesteryear. Look how you have neglected the maintenance of your streets and your airports. Where is your car industry? Boeing has to acknowledge that European Airbus leads the aircraft market. A great deal of money has gone here to wealthy individuals who were already rich. It is therefore unnecessary to give them extra money. Most of these people, however, acknowledge that. But then again, you know how well Trump takes care of himself, his family, and friends in his current position. In Silicon Valley, the inventors of 20 years ago are now walking around with satisfied bellies. The inventions are now being made in China. America is losing the battle for the global market in almost every area. You are gorged on results from the past, and you know damn well that results of the past offer no guarantee for the future. And yet, you are all stomping in the mud of the law of diminishing returns. The champion must keep training damn hard to remain a champion. The competition is cutthroat, and you are on the losing side. The richest 5% of Americans pay about half as much tax as the richest 5% of Europeans. And as these Americans have a remarkable higher income. I'm only talking about income tax here, which we all pay. I find a tax on assets a horrible thing. Assets should not be taxed, on my mind. Assets are needed to uh, create income in the private economy. And the maximum of assets is always needed to pull the economy out of a recession. And we get recessions uh, all the time. We are, we are talking about a national debt. It has been growing by over $1 trillion a year, and that growth is stronger than the economy. When we try to bring that under control, we have to do something in taxes. And when we double the tax burden on the richest 5% in America, bringing that taxation to the European level, then you have closed only half the gap. There's still another 1.1 trillion to be found. And then I say that all Americans contribute. What do you think of raising the federal tax on gasoline by 38 cents per gallon? It's quite a bit, I agree. But that would yield well over $500 billion per year. And a lot of protests, I'm sure. A good Secretary of the Treasury does not listen to the protests. Not listen. The Secretary needs that 500 billion, and that is that. No discussion possible. Hardly any discussion should be held in the House and the Congress, the Senate. That's difficult for the politicians because they want to be re-elected in 2 or 4 years. But they must, yes, to such a proposal in the interest of the nation, in the interest of America. And after that, the gap that needs to be closed is still only $600 billion. Both the rich and the ordinary Americans have now contributed. So it's now up to the Secretary of the Treasury to demand cuts from the colleagues. Well, the total expenditure of the US government amounts to approximately $7.1 trillion annually. To find 600 billion, that's 8.5%. That's a lot. But then again, if you don't wage war against Iran, you secure already half of it. And then only $300 billion must be found. That means a cut of 4.2 at every ministry. That hurts, in particular because inflation of 3.5 may not be compensated. Including that, there's 550 billion to save, and that is for every organization. How big? An enormous task, but a must. You have to stop a flywheel. Due to decades of undisciplined financial policy. Yes, the same tired tune repeated for years. The proud United States of America now face serious financial trouble. And Scott Bessent, as Guardian of the Treasury, is no different from his predecessors. This enormous problem stems from an appealing lack of financial discipline. And let's not fool ourselves. Obama is just as responsible as Trump. Yeah. Neither did anything meaningful to restore discipline. They did not even recognize the problem. If you do not save yourselves soon, in a few years, the dollar may resemble the old Italian lira or today's Turkish lira. Currencies worth only what someone is foolish enough to pay for them. The strong dollar of the past is gone. If you want to pay through the nose for expensive imports, go ahead. But if you want a different future, restore discipline at home and place. Jane Fraser or another exceptionally strong and disciplined woman from the top ranks of American finance at the head of the Treasury. See, people, most of you do not realize how important the financial markets are for the well being of America. Here in New York, it's the financial heart of the world. It is in your hands, Americans, to keep that heart beating. I am human. My heart grew weaker. I got the pacemaker. But the pacemaker does not exist for the financial heart of the world. That heart only remains healthy if your dollar is healthy. And I can promise you, if you just endure the pain to stop the growth of the mountain of debt, that your dollar will rise significantly in value. And that means cheaper imports. Dear people, you only get price drops in a healthy economy with, uh, with enough competition and with a healthy currency for you, the dollar. Don't let politicians tell you something different. Restore discipline in your financial behavior. The riches for America are over. The men have not been able to sail or ship in a secure harbor. The women are ready to take over the helm. Don't stand in the way because America will pay for it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter, for the wonderful session. So there are some couple of questions from the audience. So I will pick the best one out and I will be asking. So how can citizens encourage more accountable and ethical leadership?
Yeah,
So it is a question from Kayaya Erikansen.
yeah, I see here. Nice one. What message would you like every woman aspiring to lead to take away from your talk? Well, uh, when you are aspiring a political job, you have to go to a political party, and there you can uh, ask and find your way up the ladder. That's the best way. And I see you. Do you believe leadership should be measured by results rather than gender? Uh, Indeed, and that's done far too few times. We have in America 50% of the people is women. Not all these women uh, uh, can take a top job. Some stay here, some have to stay there. But uh, it's annoying that only 11% of the top jobs is filled by women. It should be somewhere 30-40%. Are there more questions?
Yes, so thanks for answering the question. So there are some of couple of questions from our audience. So we'll be directly posted to your email. Okay, so you can answer them and please be in the
Okay,
backstage and enjoy our next sessions. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.
okie dokie.